Hey, what's up guys? Scott Ratliff here with my main man Leo. And on this week's video, I'm excited to talk about the origin story of my journey into the world of leadership and personal development. Last night I was able to launch my new website, scottrat.com, that touches on a lot of my offerings and programs in the leadership and personal development space. And so thought it would make sense to jump on here and give you guys some background on how I went from being a lacrosse player and a professional lacrosse player to combining that with being a high school coach and being somebody who teaches and runs programs for leadership development and to build mental toughness and mental strength. So my journey into leadership development started about 3 years ago. It was 2016, I believe. I was in my second year as the head coach at Greater Atlanta Christian School down in Norcross, Georgia. Shout out to the Spartans. And I was kind of lost a little bit in my life. I'd graduated college from Loyola University in 2013. I got a job in financial consulting, so moved straight up to New York City and jumped right in the rat race in the banking world and was working long hours. And at the time I was playing in Major League Lacrosse with the Boston Cannons, and I was doing my best to grow my career in banking and to be able to excel in that world, and then also trying to stay in shape and travel up to Boston on weekends and keep my dream of playing lacrosse at the highest level alive. After about a year and a half of that grind, I really got worn down and realized that what I was doing to try to pursue my career as a professional lacrosse player was hurting my ability to improve my career as a financial consultant, and vice versa. All the time that I was spending in the office was really affecting my ability to stay in shape, my ability to train the way that I wanted to train. So I made a decision just before the start of the 2014 pro season to leave my job in banking and to move back home to Atlanta, Georgia, and try to find something that I could do that would allow me to keep a stick in my hands every day, that would allow me to be around the game, to train full time, so that I could reach my goals as a player. And I knew I only had one opportunity to kind of pursue that dream. So that led me into coaching. I moved back to Atlanta. I was coaching with LB3 Lacrosse at the time, now Thunder LB3 Lacrosse, and I took a job coaching at Greater Atlanta Christian School. So I was coaching a high school team, was coaching the club lacrosse, doing a lot of camps and clinics and lessons, and then I was really focused on my pro career and getting better and training and improving as a player. As I started to kind of build and grow in my coaching career, I was still missing something. I love to coach and I love to share the game of lacrosse and to teach young defensemen or young midfielders how they can be effective and the different strategies and tools that they need to become great players. And I was having a lot of fun and I was passionate about it, but I also wasn't finding the same level of fulfillment that I would hope to find long term in my career. It was something that was allowing me to play at the highest level and to have a stick in my hands and be doing what I loved, but it wasn't the end all for me. I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do beyond my playing career. So as I'm kind of thinking through some of these things and trying to figure out exactly what the next step for me is going to be, my mom, Jill Ratliff, was starting a new company. She had worked for a long time in the corporate space with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. She worked in human resources and ultimately went on to build out and bring in leadership and personal development programs into the corporate world. So I was aware of this, and my mom was always somebody that I kind of went to help me work through the mental challenges of being an athlete and being a student at the college level and all the pressures that I was putting on myself. So had a lot of respect and a little bit of understanding for what she did, but didn't really fully get it. So I'd gone through almost a full year of coaching at Greater Atlanta Christian School. We're entering into our second season. We hadn't been able to win the region the previous year, and it was a big goal this year, and we came up against a tough opponent and got a loss. And I remember coming home from that tough loss and my mom telling me, Scott, let me come talk to your guys. Let me come talk to your team. I think some of the stuff that I'm doing at work and teaching in the business world could help your athletes deal with adversity a little better, become a little more resilient, and hopefully turn some of these tough losses around and into wins at the end of the season. So early on I was very, very hesitant. I was a young head coach. I didn't like the idea of inviting my mom into my locker room. I did have a lot of trust and faith in her, and I knew how smart she was, and I knew that she probably did have a good message that could help us, but maybe I didn't have the self-confidence to be willing to invite her in and let her speak in front of my team. So I pushed back for a long time. No, sorry, let me kind of rock with this team. I know what to say with them. No thanks, no thanks. And eventually it got to the point where she had just kind of kept pressing me about it so much, and I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's see what you have to say. She kept telling me, give me 10 minutes, give me 10 minutes. And I'm not sure what I was expecting going into that. I in my head was maybe thinking, okay, my mom's going to come in and talk to my team and give some sort of motivational speech, and I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but she's done so much for me, and I love her, and I think I owe it to her to at least see what she can bring to the table here. So she came in one day before practice, and we met in the classroom, and she talked for 10 minutes. And anybody that coaches high school or coaches youth knows how hard it can be to keep the attention span of young people, especially in a classroom setting right after a long day of school. So my mom kept it really short. She talked about Jordan Spieth, who at that time had just had his big blow up at the Masters, where he was winning, I think, going into the 14th or 15th hole, and he ended up kind of falling apart and losing it. And she taught a strategy. She didn't come in there and give a motivational speech. She didn't come in there and teaching a bunch of abstract ideas or trying to pump my guys up. She came in there and taught a strategy around how to think when you're facing adversity, and ways that you can think and look at adversity to most quickly move forward and to bounce back. And she called it rapid rebound, and my guys really grasped it. We went through the rest of the season, and every time the other team would go on a run, or every time we would face some challenging circumstances that maybe previously would have gotten into our heads, would have affected our energy level, would have made it a challenging to overcome, I heard my guys using that term in the huddle: rapid rebound, guys, focus forward, shift our focus forward. And I really saw the impact that strategy made on my team. So at the end of the season, I went back to my mom. I said, all right, whatever that was, I'm all in. I really would love to learn this. I would really love to see if I could learn how to teach these tools and these strategies that you're using in the corporate world and bring them to athletes, because so much, and I've always understood that so much of what you're able to do on the field as an athlete has to do with your mental game and your ability to deal with adversity, your ability to deal with challenging circumstances, whether it's referees, whether it's relationships with coaches, whether it's not liking the role that you're in. There are so many things beyond just the X's and O's or the skills that come with the game that can affect your performance, that can affect you ultimately being able to reach your maximum potential. I learned some strategies that I think made me mentally stronger, that made me more resilient to maybe outside voices and their opinions, that made me more resilient to not living up to some of my own goals or some of my own expectations, and getting a little more flexibility in how I approach those, and understanding that there's great things always still ahead. It made such a big impact on my life that I became really passionate about sharing with others. So after that 2-year journey, I kind of went in and started working with Dr. Joe and with my mom, and brought a lot of these programs into the corporate space, and was able to use a lot of the stories and the metaphors from my experiences applying these strategies and these techniques on the athletic field, and help teach it to people who maybe didn't play sports, and help teach it to kids, and really anybody who sees themselves as a leader, anybody who's in facing challenging situations, or looking to get more out of their life, looking to be less stressed, looking to be more productive, looking to have stronger relationships. And I really started to develop a passion for this work. And that has all led to the launching of Scott Ratliff Leadership. And as I mentioned, I launched my website, skyrat.com, just yesterday, and I'm diving full in. I've had a chance now to go out and speak to a number of different high school programs, not just lacrosse teams, but entire schools, the basketball teams, the football teams. I've had a chance to work with a couple of different college programs and start to bring some of these strategies and techniques to them. And I've really made it my mission to take what I've learned, in my own personal experiences and dealing with my own expectations and my own failures and my own adversities, and really try to teach these strategies and pass it on to anybody that's looking to get more. So I appreciate your guys' support, appreciate everybody jumping on and checking out the website, and I look forward to touching base with you guys next week.